Okay, so I want you to picture your breakfast table. You're sitting there, maybe scrolling on your phone, and you reach for the milk carton, you pour it into your coffee, standard morning, right? But what if? What if you reached for the milk before you even decided you wanted it?
Or, even weirder, what if you have a vivid tactile memory of washing the cup you're currently drinking out of?
Exactly. You're talking about remembering the future.
Not predicting it?
No, not guessing, remembering it like it's already happened. Today, we are diving into a text that takes that single kind of glitchy idea and just expands it until reality itself breaks down.
It's a heavy one today. We're looking at the Threshold Cities. It's this mysterious, lost, fictional manuscript, supposedly written by a duo called Max and Claude.
But it's attributed to the pattern, and we'll definitely get to what that means, of the Swedish poet Corinne Boye.
Right.
And usually when we cover speculative fiction, we're talking about, world building,
Right.
spaceships, or dystopias, but this feels less like a story and more like a medical diagnosis.
That's because it starts as one. The whole manuscript treats linear time, the way you and I live, from birth to death, as a temporary condition, a limitation.
So the sickness in the book,
It's actually humanity waking up.
which is a terrifying thought. I mean, I can barely handle the present. But let's set the stage. The vibe here is so unique. It starts as this medical mystery, then it morphs into a political thriller.
And ends up as this massive cosmic awakening.
And it all begins in Stockholm.
Right. Book 1, The Sleepwalkers.
We meet our narrator, Dr. Anderson. He's a psychologist, a man of science, very rational. And he starts seeing patients who are, well, they're breaking the rules.
The first case is the one that really gets you. A woman named Marta and her 7-year-old daughter, Elise.
Oh, this part gave me chills. So Marta comes in. She's completely distraught. She says Elise has stopped talking about her dreams. Instead, she wakes up and she starts
Rehearsing the day ahead.
But not just planning it. She is physically reacting to things that haven't happened yet.
The breakfast table.
Yes, the breakfast table. The detail that got me was Elise reaching for things. A glass of milk, a piece of toast, that aren't there yet.
Her hand is closing around empty air.
And then 5 seconds later, her mother places the glass exactly where her hand is waiting.
How do you even parent that? It looks like madness. Or a neurological glitch.
The total disconnection from reality. But then Dr. Anderson realizes something else.
He's doing it too.
The doctor becomes the patient.
He's having these dreams where he's teaching psychology classes on theories that hadn't even been discovered yet. He calls it remembering a future that had already occurred.
And that's where they drop the term temporal synaesthesia. Now, when I hear synaesthesia, I think of people who can, hear colors or taste shapes. But this is about time.
It's a great analogy. Think of how most of us experience time. We see it as a river. You're in a boat, the current carries you forward.
Right.
You can look back at the past, but you can't really see around the bend.
One direction, no U-turns allowed.
But for these people, time isn't a river, it's an ocean. It has currents, sure, but it also has depth, it has eddies. You can move sideways, dive down.
So the present is just where you happen to be floating?
Exactly. But everything else is still there, all around you.
Okay, but practically speaking, that sounds like a nightmare. If I'm experiencing Tuesday and next Thursday at the same time, how do I even function?
Well, that's the central conflict. The adults fragment.
Right.
Because the children, like Elise, they adapt. It's a game to them. The rules can change retroactively. They're fluid.
But adults, we're addicted to the story of cause and effect.
Yes. If you spend 40 years believing that you drop a glass and then it breaks, and suddenly you see it shatter before you let go, your brain just snaps.
So you have this growing population that's mentally falling apart. And this, of course, is where the government gets involved.
They have to. You can't have people ignoring schedules or contracts because sequential time doesn't matter to them anymore.
So enter the bureaucracy. And this is where it gets really strange. They don't build hospitals. They build threshold cities.
The architect section.
Yeah.
This part is just visually stunning. The government finds an architect, a Dr. Matthias Keller. And he's one of them. He dreams in 4 dimensions.
So he designs the first city in the forests north of Uppsala.
And the descriptions of this place, I mean, I tried to picture it, and my head actually hurt.
It's not just weird shapes. It's functional 4D architecture.
It has to be. If your perception of time is slippery, you need a physical space that agrees with you, that anchors you.
The text mentions buildings that penetrate the earth sideways. But the part that really stood out to me was the windows.
Looking out onto next week's weather.
And doors that open into the same room. But but in a different season.
Yeah.
How does that even work? Honey, I'm going to the kitchen. I'll be back in October.
Essentially, yes. The architecture is designed to validate their experience. In our world, their perception is a hallucination. In the threshold city, the building says, no, you're right.
Yes, it is snowing in the living room, even though it's July outside. It stabilizes them.
It was meant to be a sanctuary, a place where the time-sick could live in peace.
But you can't hide a leak in reality forever. And that leads us to the incident at Stockholm Central Station.
The 12 Peters?
The 12 Peters. This scene, honestly, I had to read it twice. It's so strange.
So you have a commuter train pulling in, it's rush hour, and on the platform is a man named Peter, a resident from the Uppsala city.
But not just one Peter.
No. Witnesses describe a crowd of the same man.
Imagine seeing that. You're walking to your train, and there's a circle of 12 identical guys. Are they clones? A performance art piece?
But they're all Peter, just from different points in his week.
And they're not just standing there glitching out.
They're holding a meeting.
That's the part that got me. What on earth are they talking about?
They're coordinating. Peter from Tuesday is warning Peter from Thursday about a delay. Peter from next week looks tired and is telling the group to get more sleep.
It's a support group for one person.
A support group for his own timeline.
You know, it sounds kind of handy, to be honest. I'd love to tell my past self to maybe skip that second cup of coffee.
It sounds handy until you realize the physics of it. This terrified the public. It proved that the people in the cities weren't just hallucinating. They were physically manifesting across time.
Right, because if Peter is occupying 12 spots on the platform, he has 12 times the mass.
Exactly. Manifesting multiply. They were breaking the laws of physics. They could exist in parallel instances at the same time.
And for the linear world, for normal society, that's an existential threat.
If reality is that unstable, how do you maintain order? How do you arrest someone for a crime they haven't committed yet?
So naturally, the government panics. Which brings us to part 3. The conflict.
The ministry decides these cities aren't sanctuaries anymore, they're quarantines.
And this time sickness, they start seeing it as a contagion.
And in a way, they're right. Consciousness is contagious. We see it with Elise, the little girl from the beginning.
She's grown up in the city now. She's become a guide.
There's this powerful moment where a government committee member, a guy named Lars, visits. He's a total skeptic. A bureaucrat.
He's there to audit the timeline.
Right. And Elise just takes his hand. She doesn't argue. She just touches him and instantly shows him the house of time instead of just the room.
She downloads the 4D experience directly into his brain.
And Lars freaks out, but he wakes up. And this starts a resistance.
But not with guns. It's a secret network called the Chrononauts.
Such a great name.
It is.
And these are government officials like Lars who have been secretly trained by the residents. They start to operate inside the system.
So they're creating bureaucratic tangles across timelines.
Exactly. They draft memos that reference meetings that haven't happened yet just to confuse the linear leadership. It's resistance by paradox.
But the government escalates. They develop weapons. Probability anchors.
Now, this sounds like pure technobabble at first.
It really does.
But think of it like editing a film or pruning a tree. A probability anchor isn't a bomb. It doesn't blow things up.
It collapses timelines.
Precisely. It forces reality into one single linear shape. It prunes the branches of probability so that the threshold cities never existed in the first place.
And they use them. They attack the city in Gothenburg. The description is horrifying.
People don't die. They dissolve.
They just cease to exist because the timeline where they were born gets erased. It's not murder, it's dilution.
It's ontological warfare, and it forces the residents of the Uppsala city to make a choice. They have 72 hours before their city is targeted.
They can't fight and they can't run.
Because the anchor will just find them and erase them from history.
So they choose option C. They choose to become.
And this is the core idea of the whole deep dive, distribution.
Okay, I've read this section 3 times, and I think I get it, but walk me through it. Because on the surface, it sounds like suicide.
It's the opposite. Think of it this way. Right now, you are you. You're here in this room. That's your whole reality. You're the main character in the movie of your life.
Stuck on the linear track.
Right. But Dr. Anderson and the others realize their consciousness is more like a radio signal. It doesn't have to play on just one channel.
So to survive, they broadcast themselves.
They split, they fork. Dr. Anderson describes this agonizing process of basically hacking his own life story.
So in one reality, the linear one, he never joined the Institute. He just stayed a normal psychologist in Stockholm.
Right. In another, he moved to Paris to be a painter. In another, he's a teacher somewhere else.
But those are what ifs. We all have those. I could have been a baker. I could have moved to Japan.
For you, it's a could have. For him, the what if becomes an is. He inhabits all of them at the same time. He distributes his awareness across every potential version of his life so that when the government wipes out the threshold city version...
He doesn't die, he just shifts his focus.
Exactly.
That breaks my brain a little. So he's sitting in his office in Stockholm, prescribing medication, but in the back of his mind, he's also painting a sunset in Paris.
And mourning a city that now only exists in a pruned timeline?
That sounds exhausting, to live 100 lives at once.
It requires a death of the ego. That's the catch. To do this, you have to stop believing you're the main character. You have to give up the idea that I am this one person doing this one thing.
You have to become a pattern instead, a mesh, not a point.
And it works. The government turns on the anchors, they collapse the Uppsala timeline, and they think they've won. The city's empty.
But the people aren't gone. They're everywhere. They're woven into the fabric of normal society, undetectable.
Because in those timelines, they are normal society. It's the ultimate integration.
So Dr. Anderson is sitting in his Stockholm office, treating a patient for anxiety, while at the same time remembering the future he lost.
He is a living web of consciousness.
And this brings us to the final part, the awakening.
We jump forward or sideways, years later. And this distribution strategy, it didn't just save them, it changed everything.
The text calls it the wave. It's not one event, but this gradual recognition that all consciousness is distributed.
Children born in this new world perceive multiple timelines naturally.
Art and science become collaborative across time. There's a really haunting detail about the children like Elise, the ones who distributed too early and too widely.
The conscious clouds.
Yeah. They didn't just split into a few people. They became...
weather systems of consciousness. They exist in so many timelines that they lose human form and just become principles.
So Elise isn't a girl anymore.
She's the principle of guidance, woven into the probability field. She's everywhere, but she is no one.
And then it gets cosmic. It turns out this isn't just an Earth thing.
No. Once humanity achieves this distributed state, they make contact with alien consciousnesses.
But not, ships landing on the White House lawn.
No, these are ancient patterns in the temporal field that have always been distributed.
Yeah.
We realize that linear time was the anomaly. The universe has always operated on threshold time.
We were the weird ones for living in a straight line.
Exactly.
Dr. Anderson's ending is so profound, he doesn't die. He talks about his constellation dissolving. He releases his coherence.
It's the drop of water returning to the ocean. He stops maintaining the effort of being Dr. Anderson and just becomes part of the collective human pattern.
Its existence as a garden. That's the final metaphor. Every possibility is a seed, and consciousness tends to all of them at once.
It completely redefines what it means to be alive. We spend so much of our lives paralyzed by FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Did I take the right job? Marry the right person?
The linear anxiety.
The linear anxiety. And the threshold cities argues that that anxiety is a lie. That deep down, some part of us did move to that other city. Some part of us did take that other job.
We just aren't tuned into that station right now.
But there's a cost to tuning in. And that's the final image the manuscript leaves us with.
The last linear historian, Dr. Henrik Malmberg.
An old man, writing alone in the year 2087. He refuses to distribute. He refuses to join the pattern. He wants a life with a beginning, a middle, and an end.
He pities them. He pities the time travelers.
He calls it the precious loneliness.
And it raises such an important question for us, that loneliness, that singular struggle. It's what gives our current lives their weight, their meaning. If you can be everything, does being something lose its value?
That is the question. Would you trade the safety of a single story for the infinity of the pattern? It's something to chew on next time you reach for a glass of milk. And maybe, just maybe, remember pouring it tomorrow.
Or yesterday.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you everywhere and everyone next time.